Hello, and thank you for having me virtually in your class today. My name is Lori Thomas. I am the Director of Workplace Culture and Wellbeing for the Wellbeing Partners. We are a local nonprofit organization whose mission is to build well-being into the way our communities and businesses grow through advocacy, collaboration, and education. Today, I would like to talk to you about culture. We will cover what culture is, its influence on health and well-being, explore research evidence around culture of health, and finally, how wellness initiatives impact culture. Culture is a group phenomenon. It cannot exist solely within a single person, nor is it simply the average of individual characteristics. It resides in shared behaviors, values, and assumptions, and is most experienced through the norms and expectations of a group. Unlike water to a fish, the influence of our own culture is often invisible to us. Culture has multiple levels. The first level is the visible things a culture produces. I'd like you to imagine an iceberg. On the surface, you can see the iceberg. You can see and hear the waves hitting against it, or a bird landing on the side of it. That would be the first level of culture, those things that you can see, hear, or feel. The next level is only partially observable and includes values and ideals that members of the culture use to mold their behaviors. These are the unwritten rules that exist within a culture. The final level is the deepest and the part of the iceberg that you cannot see. Here lie the assumptions within a culture, where you will find ideas about what is right and wrong, and those shared fundamental beliefs. We are all shaped and influenced by these many layers of culture, levels and layers. So we had the levels, which is the iceberg. Now I want you to think of an onion, right? And you have the multiple layers. And inside that onion is the core. That is the person. So we're all shaped by these many layers. Those layers are things like national, regional, organizational, your gender, generation, your social class, your heritage, your race, your religion, your sexual orientation, your ability. And even within an organizational culture, you will see multiple subcultures that influence and affect the overall culture. Think about who you are when you are at school. And now think about who you are at work or who you are at home. How about when you're out with a group of your friends? Now think of a different group of friends and when you're out with them. Likely the parts of you that you share change depending on your group. That is an example of the influence of the different layers of culture. Now let's look at the influence that culture has on health and well-being. This influence is vast, and it affects the perceptions of health and illness. It affects beliefs about the causes of disease, approaches to health promotion and prevention, how illness and pain are experienced and expressed, where and how people seek help, and the preferred treatments that they seek. Things like fear, judgment, expectations, assumptions, these all exist within a culture and affect the choices that we make, even if we don't always realize it. For example, let's consider a person following a pescatarian diet. Pescatarianism is the practice of incorporating seafood into an otherwise vegetarian diet. However, this person appears to their colleagues as a vegetarian because they only see them eating plant-based foods while at work. Why might that be? Have any of you ever cooked fish in a microwave or ordered a seafood dish and eaten it in a shared space? Has anybody ever been told that there's an unwritten rule that you just don't do that at work? Has anybody walked into a room and been like, oh, somebody made fish? There's an odor that comes with reheating or cooking or eating fish in an area, and not everybody appreciates that. So there are many places where that is an unwritten rule that you don't eat fish at work because of that. So in this person's case, their work culture dictated their food choices. And likely they aren't even putting conscious effort into that. It's just what they do. It's what they've been programmed to do by that culture that's around them. So this gives us an example of how culture impacts our well-being. We all know that there's influence with who we're with. We may be more likely to eat certain things with certain people, or drink with certain people, or maybe even smoke with certain people. So we know that culture impacts our well-being. But does it work the other way around? Do wellness initiatives impact culture? The short answer is yes. Wellness initiatives that are developed for and within a specific culture help people feel valued and appreciated. For example, within an organization, providing wellness initiatives that provide the right resources for the people that really need them shows them that the organization cares for its employees. It shows that they support them both professionally and personally. Researchers at Spencer Stuart interdependently studied and refined a list of 8 styles that apply to organizational cultures and individual leaders. Those 8 styles are caring, purpose, learning, enjoyment, results, authority, safety, and order. I encourage you to look that up. Spencer Stuart, their research around that, there's some really great examples, and they've actually put it into a grid as to how those affect each other, how they can live within a spectrum of things, but how certain things can't live at the same time. So very interesting information there. So those are some good things to look at. And speaking of research and studies, let's look at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, or RWJF. They began a Culture of Health initiative in 2013. And the vision of RWJF, building a culture of health, is a movement to make health a national priority that is valued and advanced by collaborators from all sectors. It is driven by the belief that we will make true progress when we work together toward a shared goal of better health. They continue to support rigorous, intensive research on what individuals and organizations can do to treat the challenges faced by their communities, as well as new insights into how Americans think, feel, and behave regarding health. They funded the National Academy of Medicine's Culture of Health program, and they partnered with the RAND Corporation to develop an action framework to track progress toward a culture of health. This action framework identifies priorities organized under distinct action areas for driving measurable, sustainable progress and improving the health and well-being of all people. Those action areas are making health a shared value, fostering cross-sector collaboration, creating healthier, more equitable communities, and strengthening integration of health services and systems. So again, that is RWJF, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And again, they are working with the National Academy of Medicine's Culture of Health program and the RAND Corporation. All great resources to look more into when researching and learning more about a culture of health. Now, the greatest takeaway from all of this that I would like for you guys to take from this is just knowing and understanding that yes, culture impacts well-being, and at the same time, wellness initiatives impact culture. One way we work with organizations at the Wellbeing Partners is to integrate well-being into their organizational structure and strategy. We incorporate that in by looking first and foremost at what is it that the employees want and need. We encourage our organizations to utilize tools and resources like needs assessments, organizational culture assessments, and social determinants of health assessments. Well-being is not something that can be done to employees. It is something that you must work with them and empower them to choose the right things for them. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Not every employee within an organization needs the same resources. The next thing we do at the Wellbeing Partners is that we encourage organizations to determine the scope of their wellness initiatives. What are they trying to accomplish by offering them? Consider how they will evaluate successes by exploring what variables and metrics that are essential not only to the organization and senior leadership, but what variables and metrics are essential to the employees, and finding where those meet in the middle. And finally, we help the organization integrate and align their wellness mission and vision and core values into those of the overall organization. So making sure that those align and tie together, making sure that every employee, when they come to work, they understand their purpose and how they contribute to that overall goal and mission and vision of the organization, because they do. An organization could not run and function effectively without every single one of those employees. There is a purpose for them to be there. The hard part is helping them to understand what that purpose is and how valuable they are to that organization. I encourage you all, as you're going into this journey of workplace well-being, whatever that career path may take you. And if you ever want to talk more about what's out there, what's available, what that could look like, I'd be happy to talk to you about that. But I invite you to be attentive, be perceptive, and open-minded. It makes a difference. The more we know, the more we grow and the better we do. You all have the power to create change within yourself, your family, your community, your state, and even the world. Let's work together to build cultures of caring and overall well-being. I'm excited for the next generation that you guys are all coming out and helping with this incredibly hefty goal. Thank you again. You can reach me at Lori T at thewellbeingpartners.org. It's LORIT at thewellbeingpartners, all spelled out, .org. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Keep making wonderful things happen.